Want to see what's in my bag? So I've wanted to do a what's in my bag type video for a long time, but I've really struggled to know how to do it because as church techs, we're so often asked to do lots of things. We're not just video people or sound engineers or camera operators. We have to do a bit of all of that quite often. And I will change what's in my bag depending on what I'm doing from week to week. If I'm doing sound, then I'll take some audio kit. If I'm doing cameras, then I'll take something completely different. So it's hard to say what would I take in my bag because it changes from one week to the next. But today I thought it would be good to try and do a what's in my bag type video, but I'm gonna do it as not so much what's always in my bag, but what's in my bag sometimes. The idea is that these are just some of the things that I find useful and I will take with me depending on the job and depending on whether they're relevant, but these are some of the types of things that I might well carry in my bag at some point. So let's go over to the table and we can have a look at what is in my bag sometimes. Okay, so what is in my bag? Well, nothing is in this bag actually. This isn't really the bag that I would normally use. This is just a prop for this video, but we'll get that one out of the way. I'll show you the things that I would ordinarily be carrying around with me. And first of all, the number one thing that I am pretty much always going to have in my bag is going to be a set of headphones. Headphones are so useful and never more so than these days. So I use headphones if I'm sound engineering, if I'm doing any kind of mixing. Headphones are great. Don't ever try and mix front of house off headphones. Always try and mix front of house off your actual speakers. But they're very good for listening into monitor mixes or anything else that's going on, or even if you want to just pick out one particular channel and just listen what's going on that one channel. Headphones are great for that. But the reason I also carry them around these days is because if I'm doing any videoing or filming, I can listen into what I'm recording on my camera. And also they are really good if you need to be mixing up a broadcast mix. And as I've said before, so often these days what we're doing is going out online. There is some kind of live stream element to 90% of what happens now. So a pair of headphones are really critical for mixing online and just a number of other jobs. So carrying a set of headphones with me is always really helpful. So number one thing that's always in my bag, a set of headphones. Number two, the second thing that I'm very often going to be carrying is some kind of media storage. These little portable SSD drives are fantastic. I have loads of these little drives. They're a really effective way of being able to store data, moving it from one computer to another. They also work often as storage for cameras. There's quite a lot of cameras these days that you can plug one of these into and you'll be able to record directly off the camera onto an SSD as well. And then of course you can take your SSD, plug it into your computer and start editing with it. So it's a really handy way of being able to do media storage, media transfer, getting files from one place to another. Storage drives, media drives, really helpful using those all the time. This is the Samsung T5 and the T7 drives. I do have both. I use both the T5 and the T7. But the one thing to be careful of, if you use any of the Blackmagic gears, particularly the Blackmagic cameras are compatible with the T5s. They are not compatible with the T7s. So the T5 drives actually work. They're kind of more compatible with more devices. So I've got stacks of these T5 drives. The Samsung T5 drives are fantastic and definitely something that I would almost always have in my bag as well. Now, if I'm doing any filming here in the studio, I will very often use one of these. This is called a color checker or a checker card. And these is just a piece of card, but it has on it a number of coloured squares, and these colours are kind of known colours. We know what they should be, and I can put this into my software, and depending on what lighting I've got shining on me, my software is able to work out, okay, so that should be white and this should be black and all these other colours should be whatever colours they should be, and it can just work out, okay, so if the lighting is making that appear this way, if I shift the image this way, now all the colours are exactly right. And so it can use this as a way of editing that video to make it look amazing. And this is a great tool in a studio space where you've got a lot of control over the lighting and that kind of things, but it's not something I necessarily take out with me in my bag. What I have that's similar to this, that does a similar kind of job that I take in my bag with me quite often, is this. This is a pop-up grey card. I can find out how to get into the thing. We unzip it and it pops out this big card. Now this is very similar to the colour checker card. This is a shade of grey, but it's a known shade of grey. It's what's called middle grey. And a camera can look at this and we can tell the camera that this is middle grey. And if a camera knows that this is middle grey, it knows to shift colour images. If this is appearing slightly green or slightly blue or slightly red, it can shift that colour to make this look as it should. So we can set things like white balance and perhaps even colour tints. So we know that this is grey, and if we can make it look and appear grey, it's a really helpful way of being able to set your cameras and accurately set your cameras to what they should be. Also, with it being pop-up, it makes it nice and large, and I can stand on a stage and hold this up, and cameras at the back of the room can normally pick this up fairly well from quite a good distance away. So it's really helpful in a live context to be able to have a nice big grey card to check your camera settings with. Now, tied in with this, I also use another tool. So if I am doing cameras, as well as having my pop-up grey card, I will also normally have some kind of an external monitor with me. This one here is the Atomos Shinobi monitor. And these are also great. It's another really handy thing to have in your bag if you are working as a camera operator one week. The big advantage of something like this, as well as being a screen that you can see nice and clearly what's going on with the camera, it also has a number of tools in here that you can use to help set your camera up. It has things like focus assist. Focus assist will show you a red line outlining your person, the person that you're trying to pick up. And when you see that red line, or coloured line, it can be different colours. When you see that line appear, you know that that is the point of the image that is in focus. So it has things like that in there that can help you to focus an image correctly. But the way that you use it in conjunction with this is you can have things called false colours. And false colours is a setting in your camera that will display camera images in a fairly bizarre looking way. Let me just put a false colour image up here now. So this is what false colours looks like. Now, as you can see, all the colours on this image are very odd, and this wouldn't be a look that you would use on a broadcast or a recording or anything like that. But what this does show us is different brightness intensities across the image. Now, with a false colour reading like this, you would often find there will be a key. There isn't one actually displayed on this image, but if you looked on the back of your camera or indeed on a monitor at a false colour display, what you will see is there are a number of brightness levels, and against them will be the colour that is indicated at that brightness. Now, if I take my middle grey card here and hold it up, you will see that it turns pink. And pink on this particular false colour image indicates that middle grey is at the correct brightness level. So it's not too dark and it's not too bright. This shows me that this middle grey card is correctly exposed. That's enough of that. Let's come back to proper colours again. So you can see with a combination of a grey card and some kind of external monitor which give you things like false colors. Some cameras might have false colors built into them, some cameras might have all these different tools built into them, but if not, an external monitor will give you all that ability, false colors and a grey card. Really helpful tools for helping set up a camera. And if you want to match multiple cameras in a room, it's another really helpful way of being able to do that and get them all looking very much the same. Right, let's get these out of the way. Okay, the next thing that I will quite often carry with me is some kind of a USB power supply. These days, so many of the things that we use can be charged from a USB power supply. And I use these batteries. I've spoken before about how my cameras and all my camera gear work off the NPF, Sony NPF batteries. And this particular type of battery also has on it a USB socket that I can use to power things like tablets and phones and things like that. So if any of my devices are running low, I can plug them directly into this, and this will charge up any of my USB devices as well. So some kind of a USB battery, and if you've got camera batteries that also do USB charging as well, all the better. But these types of batteries or a power pack, some kind of USB charger, really useful. Always going to have one of those in my bag. You've always got to have the classic, a Sharpie and some tape. Marking stuff up gets you out of so many holes. Sharpies and tapes, always going to be in my bag. And I will also often carry a couple of tools with me, some kind of pair of pliers, and one of these. This is a little Stanley tool. They make these little screwdrivers, and you take the ends off and they have interchangeable bits on the end, so you can have a Phillips or a flathead screwdriver. These kind of things, again, I've gotten out so many situations where maybe a fuse has blown in a plug or something like that. You need to be able to change the fuse quickly. Having one of these in my bag, also really helpful to carry this kind of stuff. Now, depending on what I'm doing, I may well often carry with me a spare video mic, a microphone for recording. If I'm doing some kind of filming somewhere, I will very often pop this one in my bag. This is the Rode Videomicro. It's a tiny little shotgun mic, and I love this thing. This is such a great little microphone. Possibly one of my favorite little on-camera shotgun mics. It sounds fantastic, and for the size of it, it packs into your bag really easily. Yeah, I really like this, and I would very often carry this if I'm doing some kind of filming somewhere, either as a backup mic or even, depending on the situation, as a main mic. If I'm doing kind of vlog style handheld camera, then this will be my mic that I'll quite often put on top of my camera. When it's this close to me, it really works very well. So yeah, Rode Videomicro, definitely one that's in my bag. And while we're on audio and filming and recording, just over here I keep my Tascam DR60mkii. This little box I have spoken about a few times before. I do love this little field recorder, and again, if I'm out filming something, if I need some audio recording, this is generally my go-to field recorder that I'll be taking out and using with me. Again, really nice and compact, fits in your bag really easily. Great little device for that. So many of the things that we do these days will require or be improved by an iPad or some kind of a tablet control. There are so many things that can be controlled via an iPad, and having an iPad on hand is often a very helpful tool. And one of the things that I will put in my bag is this little collapsible iPad stand. It folds down completely flat and again just packs into a bag really neatly. And if I need to be able to have, say, a running order, a schedule, something like that, or just another window open for mixing desk control or something of that sort of nature, then my iPad here in a stand just to the side, it's another really helpful tool that again I will very often have in my bag. Now, I could go on forever with this list. There are so many little bits and bobs that I might well tuck in my bag. Spare cables, spare adapters and plugs, just depending on what the job is that I'm doing, I will think through what might be needed, what might be something that we might need, spare SD cards if you're doing filming, just little bits and bobs that are useful that might be worth having on hand. And I will quite often throw any number of those things in, and depending on the situation and where I am and what I'm doing, those things will just change. But this stuff here is mostly pretty constant. These are the kinds of things that I will very often throw in my bag and I will have available. They have gotten me out of so many holes in so many situations. So yeah, if any of this has been helpful to you, then I would really encourage you to take a look at any of these things. Most of it you can buy through somewhere like Amazon or something like that, so go and check them out. They are really, really helpful tools, and as I say, I wouldn't be without them myself. So get yourself some of this stuff and hopefully it will help you in whatever it is that you're doing as a church tech. If this video has been helpful to you, please do give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you get notified in the future. And that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Take care, see you soon.